Have you ever wondered what to do with all the solar lights they have out at Dollar Tree? Well, stick around because in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can use them in your outdoor space. Now for this first DIY, you're gonna have to go to the Restore, or if you have an old light, you could use that as well. When I was at the Restore, I picked up these lights and they kind of looked like flowers to me. So it inspired me to make some candles that looked very much like something I would see on Anthropologie's website. So at Dollar Tree, I picked up some of their black candle holders. They have these out quite a bit, so hopefully you can find them at your store. And then you're also going to need some solar lights. I started by spray painting the candle holders gold. Once that was dry, I had my globes and I'm going to just clean off all of those globes. Next, I used E6000 to attach the globes to my candle holders. You want to let this dry completely. Then you're gonna add in your solar light. Now to do this, you want to take off the base and then you're gonna put E6000 around the bottom part of your solar light and place it into the candle. These look great sitting out on your table or anywhere outside. Now, if you have the plus section at your Dollar Tree, you may have seen this solar light. I have to say, this is probably gonna be a popular one this year. It is $5, so keep that in mind. And really, it looks great on its own, but I wanted to show you a different way that you could style this particular lamp. So what you're going to need is one of the black hanging baskets. And I removed the hanging pieces from this basket. So essentially, I was just left with a black wire basket. Now, I wanted to take this black wire basket and try to make it into a lampshade. Honestly, I wasn't sure if this was gonna work. So in the tote bag section at Dollar Tree, they have these like waterproof pattern tote bags. I actually bought this probably 6 months ago and I was gonna use it for another craft, never did, so I thought it would be perfect for this DIY. I started by cutting one of the sides of the tote bag. Then I added hot glue to secure down the bag in place. I wanted it where the basket was level with the end of the tote bag that I had cut off. I continued to add hot glue and then just wrapped it around. Trying to keep it as smooth and even as possible. You are going to have to cut it off on the bottom and the top, and I just tried to make those cuts as straight as possible. You're gonna go all the way around until you're able to wrap your entire lampshade, trying to cut that line as even as possible. Finish up hot gluing it so it holds in place. And then you can add a little bit of hot glue to the wire basket and place it onto your solar light. Now to display this outside, you could put it on any table. I found this wood slice at the thrift store and I thought it would be perfect for this DIY. So I'm gonna place the wood slice down along with my lamp. Have you seen all of the new planters out at Walmart lately? I mean, they just do such a good job every year of giving us some of the best new planters, in my opinion, are the terracotta ones. I love this one. I bought it earlier this year and I've had it out in my house, but I thought, let's try to do a DIY with it with the solar lights. So you're gonna need the larger terracotta base and then you're going to need a smaller one. I started with the larger one, putting rocks at the bottom. And I have to tell you guys, I was running out of rocks in my craft room. I need to go to Dollar Tree and restock. At one time I had so many, but I've completely run out of them just doing different DIYs. So I started with the natural stones, but then I had to put in these black ones because I was running out. And honestly, you're not gonna be able to see the rocks anyways, so use whatever rocks you like. Essentially what you're wanting to do is add enough rocks so that you can put the top planter on that's a little bit smaller and have it sit up where you can see it. After I did that, I added in my solar lights. Now, because this planter is a little bit smaller, I opted to go with some smaller solar lights that they have out at Walmart. I'm gonna place those in each one of the curvy pieces. Next, I'm going to add in some greenery. So I just went in my succulent container. I found some old greenery that I had from Dollar Tree. For my top piece, I added in some more rocks, and then I decided to add a solar light to the top middle part as well. I think with all these solar lights, it's really gonna light up outside your house. I found this unique piece at the thrift store and I thought it could be really cool with a solar light. So I cleaned it up really well, and then I took a solar light from Dollar Tree, took the base off, and then I used E6000 to place it on that little ledge on that piece. I let this dry completely, and then I wanted it to look kind of like a lamp. So I found this clear bowl that they have at Dollar Tree. It was a plastic bowl, and I thought it kind of looked like a lamp shade. So I'm gonna use E6000 on the top of my solar light and just place it on top. I don't know, what do you guys think? It looks like a lamp to me. At Dollar Tree, they have these wood candle holders. You're gonna need 6 for this next DIY. So take your 6 wood candle holders. I love the way they look black, but you could always paint these. I'm gonna add E6000 to stack up 3 of these. Now, whenever you're doing this, make sure that the top piece where it's got a little bit of a hole is facing up. That's just going to help you with adding your solar lights whenever you're done. You wanna have one where you have 3 candle holders stacked on top of each other. Next, you're going to do a double stack. So add E6000 to the top of the candle holder and then add on the candle holder. Then you're gonna have one that doesn't have anything on it. Now, what solar lights can we put in here? I wanted to do a little bit fancier of solar lights. So I have this pack of 4 that I got at the Home Depot. And if you're looking for anything in today's video, I will link it for you down in the description box. But I'm gonna add E6000 to the base of these solar lights and place them into my candle holders. And here's how they look at night. A popular item every year at Dollar Tree are these hanging stakes that they have. You can put so many different things out in your garden or around your patio with these hanging stakes. They're also great for lining your sidewalks or your walkways. So I picked up a couple of these. I also wanted to make some hanging solar lights. Now, I've made something similar in the past. What you're going to need are these glass candle holders that have the jute twine holder on them. I'm going to add a little bit of moss to the base of these candle holders. Next, I'm going to use 2 silver Dollar Tree solar lights. I'll take off the base and then add E6000 to the top and place it into the candle holder. Now, you may have to kind of move that moss around just to make sure your candle holder fits. Let that dry and you can hang these up outside. I love to go down the glassware aisle anytime I'm shopping at Dollar Tree because it seems like they always put out new glassware. I found these really pretty candle bases. I found them in gray, and then they also had ones that were kind of like a yellowish color. Now, the solar lights that they have out at Dollar Tree come in a bunch of colors. So I was able to find a gray one and also this rose gold one that were very similar colors to the vases that I picked up. So I'm going to take off the bottom of the solar lights, and then they sit perfectly on top. I'll just add a little bit of E6000 to the underside and place it down into my vase. This is another great outdoor solar light that you can put on any table. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Comment the word of the day, which is solar lights. Earlier this year, I found these fluted mason jars at Walmart. They're starting to get like really fun mason jar styles, and they're comparable to prices at Dollar Tree. So if you're looking for some fun mason jars, check out Walmart. I'll also link them for you down below. But I'm gonna be using a larger one and a smaller one. I want to make these lids so that I can add in a solar light. Now, you could probably use a drill, but I was trying to figure out a way to do it without a drill. I made a hole in the middle and I started to just kind of pull back back that metal on the mason jar. And then I would see if my solar light would fit in there. If it wouldn't, then I would just cut it a little bit more and keep pulling back the lid until it fit in snug. Once it fit in, I knew it was good. I did 2 of those so that I had 2 lids that would fit in solar lights. I did paint these a gray color to match my solar lights. And I set those aside to dry. Next, with my mason jars, I'm gonna add in some Dollar Tree rocks. And then I'm also going to put in a Dollar Tree succulent. I do like the look of having the greenery in there, but I was noticing that it was harder to see it through the fluted edge. Maybe if you want to see the succulent a little bit more, use a clear mason jar versus the fluted. You could always just do the fluted and only put rocks in there if you prefer that look. Next, I'm going to add the solar light without the base into my lids, and then I'll screw those onto my jars. Have you guys seen these new solar lights at Dollar Tree that look like rocks? I found them to be so interesting. They have little stakes on the bottom so you can press them down into your flower beds. I think these would look great just like scattered all over your flower beds. That's how I'm gonna use them this spring. Let me know what you think of these. Now, I love having live plants, but over the past few years, I have really gotten into faux plants. They look good all the time and you don't have to water them. I have really found some of the best plants on Amazon. I'm gonna put the QR code right here. If you're interested in seeing any of the faux plants that I've used over the past few years, I will also link it for you down in the description box. But I found a new faux plant and I was excited to try it out. You guys, this is a faux boxwood. Not only could you use this in your landscape, you could use it in your pots and it's gonna be good pretty much all year round. So I thought these bushes were boxwoods. They're definitely not, but they are pretty cool. You just have to fluff them out a little bit. So I decided to add it to my planters out front. You just want to fill up any planter with a base of rocks. You could also use moss as well. And then you're just going to stick in that boxwood. Now to take it a step further, I did find these solar lights at Dollar Tree. These are in the plus section as well, but I'm going to add these into the planters so that I can illuminate my boxwood at night. So for this project, you're gonna need 2 of those solar lights. You're also going to need my favorite product. You guys know it, it's Quikrete. And then you're gonna need 2 containers that you can put the Quikrete in. I find that something that you can peel back that's either paper or foam works best. I found these 2 ramen containers. One's a ramen container, one's a rice container. So keep these items because they're perfect for Quikrete projects. I'm gonna start by mixing my Quikrete with water in a small bowl. And you wanna mix this together until it's the consistency of a thick pudding. Once you have it all mixed up, you're going to pour the mixture into one of your containers. And I filled them up about halfway full. I'm gonna repeat that with my other container, mixing more Quikrete together and putting it into the container. So once you have your containers full, you're going to tap them on your table to remove any air bubbles that you have. Then you're going to put your solar lights in the center of these containers. Now the solar lights probably aren't going to stand up on your own, so you're going to have to use some painter's tape to hold them in place. Usually about 4 pieces of painter's tape will work, and just put those around the edges. Now set these to the side, let them dry overnight. The next day you can come back in and you can pull off the painter's tape and just rip the cardboard off around the edges. And that's really all you have to do, and these are perfect for any outdoor space. I have to say, I think this next project is probably my favorite DIY in this whole video. You'll have to let me know what you think. So have you ever been shopping at the Restore or any thrift store and you see these globe lights that you use in different chandeliers? Well, they sell them for so inexpensive. My Restore sells these for $1 each. So I bought these brown ones. Now, one of the trends that's really popular right now is mushrooms, especially in outdoor decor. So I wanted to turn these globes into mushrooms for my outdoor space. So I bought the black traditional solar lights. These are the ones you see most often at your Dollar Tree. And I'm going to add some E6000 to the top area of my solar light. Then I'm gonna place it upside down into my mushroom. Because you're using E6000, you need to let these dry overnight. So I repeated those steps with all 5 of my mushrooms. Once they have a chance to dry, now you can just put these in your yard. I think these make the most adorable mushroom decor. Now I have to tell you, with this next DIY, I was not sure if this was gonna work. It ended up working great, so I'm really excited to show it to you. Now at the Restore, they also sell so many different chandeliers that people drop off and they really don't want. And a lot of people don't buy them because they're heavy and they, take up a lot of room. So all of the chandeliers at my Restore, they sell for $5. So I found this one, I picked it up. So the first thing I did was I needed to clean it off a little bit. And then I went in and removed the globes and all the lights that were left on this chandelier. So my idea was, could I make this an outdoor chandelier using solar lights? So that's what I'm attempting to do. So the first thing I did was spray paint it with a matte black spray paint. And I tried hanging it up, but that didn't work. So I ended up just having to kind of put it on its side outside to spray paint. So I spray painted one side, trying to get all the different areas, let that dry, and then I actually twisted it and spray painted it some more. I think I did this a total of 3 times to get it completely covered with the black spray paint. Next, I actually cleaned all the globes because they were kind of dirty. Then I added the globes back on and then put that little piece that kind of holds the globes in place on. All right, the solar lights I'm gonna be using are black traditional solar lights from Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna take off the bases to the solar lights. And I'm gonna use a combination of hot glue and E6000 in where you would put the light bulbs for the chandelier. I'll put those in there and I'll just hold them in place until it's completely dry. I repeated that with each one of the little globes. I had 9 total. You can hang this from your deck. You can also hang it on a tree outside, but I think it makes a gorgeous chandelier at night. One of the biggest trends I've been noticing, and I'm totally here for it, is people using faux plants and shrubs outside. If you're somebody who struggles to keep your plants alive, or maybe you live in a really hot climate and it's hard to keep them alive, this may be a trend that you want to try. So I went on Amazon and I found this hanging basket that I thought, this has got to be too good to be true. It just looks so cute. And so I ordered it just to kind of see what it looked like, but it came with everything. It had the base for the hanger, it had a foam piece, and this arched boxwood, and then it came with all these different florals. So I thought, what if I put some solar lights in this hanging basket? I think that'll look really pretty at night. It'll light up and just look gorgeous. So I'm going to be using these rose gold solar lights at Dollar Tree. These I think are new this year. I haven't seen the rose gold before. So I started by trying to put them into the foam, and I realized if I took that foam piece out and did it like just on my flat table, it worked a lot better than in the basket. So that would be my only recommendation. Just put your foam piece out and then transfer it into your basket. So I put the solar lights in a triangle shape on my foam piece. I took all the florals that came with that hanging basket and I just kind of fluffed them out. One way I like to do that is just shake them, and that's going to expand the florals. And I tried my best to just kind of put them around. So I put like 3 at the top, and then I just tried to evenly space them around my basket. After you have all your flowers in, you can kind of move the pieces to make it look fuller. And then I put it in the hanging basket, and here's how it looks. I would love to know down in the comments, would you use faux plants outside at your house? Let me know in the comments your thoughts. create your own wood box to use outside at your house using scrap wood. Now you're going to need to pick up 2 boards. Now since this is going to be an outdoor planter, I decided to go with cedar boards, but if you want to keep it inside, you could really use any board that you want. But I bought 2 cedar boards at Lowe's. One of the boards is a 1x6x6. The other board is a 1x4x6. So I'm gonna start by measuring my coffee table where this is gonna sit to decide, how long I want my planter box to be. I cut 2 side pieces that were the same length. I'm gonna go to my smaller board, which is my 1x4x6 board, and I'm gonna cut that down to the same length as my 2 side boards. Next, I'm going to use my nailer, which I will link below. I love this nailer. You guys know I use it all the time. I'm gonna nail the side boards to the bottom board. Next, I'm gonna come in and cut side pieces, and I'll nail those in place as well. What's your weakness? What's your type? Somehow I wanna know all about you. I'm gonna sand any rough edges on the box. Now, since this is going to be an outside planter, it's important to have drainage. So I used my drill to create some drainage holes on the bottom of the box. So I wanted to add some solar lights to this planter. Now you're definitely going to need something underneath to fill it with because you don't want to use your nice rocks to fill in your box. I found these super fancy lights at Dollar Tree. I love the scroll work on them. So I'm gonna put 5 of these lights into my box. Next, I wanted to use a combination of moss and then these white rocks that I picked up at Home Depot for a completely different project in my house. I actually had some left over. So I'm gonna start by putting down the moss and then I'll add in my rocks. These are great sitting out on a coffee table in your outdoor sitting area. Have you walked by these $1.25 hangers and wondered what you could do with them? Well, these are great for those hanging solar lights. So you can put them out in your yard and then add on some of your favorite solar lights. In the plus section, they have these hanging ones for $5, and I think they look great on these hangers. We were at the thrift store the other day and I found this candle holder. It was really unique and something I hadn't seen before. I think originally it was made for tea lights, but I had the idea of could we use this for our solar lights? So that's what I picked it up for. So I started by cleaning it because it was really dirty. Then I wanted to spray paint it black. So I came in with a matte black spray paint on the bottom side, and then once that was dry, I flipped it over and spray painted the top. I did want to add some textured spray paint to it, so I had this kind of like black metallic textured spray paint. I added that to the top as well. Now I needed 5 solar lights for this next project, and I removed the bases off of these solar lights. And then to hold them in place, I hot glued each of the solar lights to the bottom of each of the holes in this candle holder. Once that was dry, I knew that I needed to add a little bit more to really secure these solar lights in place. So I mixed up some more Quikrete with water. Now before, when I was doing Quikrete, I was definitely making it a thicker consistency, but this I wanted it to be a lot thinner because I knew it was gonna be harder to put the Quikrete around the edges. So I made it a little bit more watery. Then to add it to my containers, I put all of the Quikrete into a Ziploc bag. This is kind of a technique you use whenever you're icing cakes. So I put it in a Ziploc bag and then I cut off the corner. I squeezed it into each of the areas around the solar light. Once I was done doing that, I tapped the candle holder down on my tray just to make sure that the Quikrete was as smooth as possible. And make sure they're as full as you want them to be. Now you may get some Quikrete around the top edge, just kind of pull off any excess. Let it dry overnight. I did want to clean it up a lot more the next day, so I did go in with an additional gray paint that I have and just paint along the top so it looked nice. I feel like this is a really unique solar light piece that maybe you could set out on a side table, or it would look great on your coffee table. So I had some solar lights from last year that were pretty dirty, and I was wondering, like, how do you clean solar lights? So I went searching and I found this trend where people were using bug spray to clean their solar lights. So I wanted to try that out and see if it worked. Let me show you how you can hang some of your solar lights. So what you're gonna need for this next project are those hanging baskets that they sell at Dollar Tree for $1.25. You're also going to need 3 solar lights. Also from the Reese store, I picked up these dollar globes. They sell these a ton, or you may have them around your house. So I'm gonna start with that base, and then I'm going to put in one of the Reese store globes. Next, I needed to fill that hole at the bottom so that my solar light would fit in there. So I have these wood rings from Dollar Tree that I'm going to hot glue into the bottom there. So I actually had to put 2 rings to make it the right size. So I put a Dollar Tree ring and then I put a smaller one inside of the larger one. Now for your solar light, you're going to remove the base and then you can set it down into that ring and it will hold in place. You can also E6000 it in place just to hold it really securely. I repeated these steps with 2 more hanging baskets. I'll hang these outside. I have these hooks on my deck and I think they are perfect for outdoor lights. So for our next solar light, you're going to need a dome. You're also going to need one of these hanging plant chains they sell at Dollar Tree and a solar light. You're gonna take the base of your dome and you're going to drill 3 holes around the outside edge because you're trying to make a hanger. You're also going to need to drill a hole in the middle of the bottom of that dome piece. So I did change out my drill bit to a larger drill bit just to create a larger hole there. Next, I'm going to remove everything from the solar light except for that very top black piece. And I'm going to E6000 along the edges and place it onto the base of my dome, making sure that the light you can see through that hole that I drilled. Next, using that Dollar Tree chain, I'm going to place that around each of the 3 holes that I put around that dome. So I did have to open them a little bit with my pliers just to make sure that I could get them securely on. And then I'll put the dome back on the bottom. And then with this, you can hang it on one of those $1.25 hangers I had, or anywhere you have around your house. It makes a great hanging solar light. Let me know down in the comments which of these DIYs was your favorite. I love knowing your opinion. And make sure you subscribe because I want to see you back here, and I'll see you in our next one. Bye.